There's a corner of the world that has lived without peace for over 25 years. A place where scars run deep and the effects of a dark past are felt every moment of every day. It began as an attempt to overthrow the Ugandan government by a man named Joseph Kony. His band of rebels, called the Lord's Resistance Army, marched across northern Uganda. Kony's men would kidnap children from the villages they raided and turn them into soldiers. The LRA stole thousands of children. To break their innocence, the LRA brainwashed their new recruits by forcing them to brutally kill their loved ones. Kony prized young girls especially. They were capable young killers, but they could be used as sex slaves for commanding officers. Eventually, these girls became mothers themselves, some as young as 13 or 14 years old. 6 years after Kony fled northern Uganda, these girls were released from physical bondage, but they still remained enslaved. Carrying scars from their time in the bush and their captors' children on their backs, they had nowhere to turn. The guns have stopped firing, but the war still remains for one woman who directs a small tailoring school in Gulu, Uganda. She fights for these girls, using sewing machines and pop tabs.
I don't think people really are ready to listen to them exactly. And there are a lot of people who just brush everything aside and do not care that these girls want to be listened to. And I think there are very few people who really take time to sit with them and try to let them speak about their past experience. Listening to them and giving them the opportunity to rebuild their lives.
Forgive us our sins, save us from the fire of hell.
I'm on the teaching the new Lano, the new Namara, big no. Guitar, my bag, and met a back one. And to Paris, the twilight chingy. Me and Jim can and we are
The LRA, they came and they find us sleeping in one house. And they entered. They took us away. I was so feared that I think that they may kill me.
And madam one no chak wot way near one maluteno ini kichet ki training one Sudan. Ngani luteno mateno tingo budok nako. Ikan madam war wo orong ka kulu ka mo madam petwero kate ame petwero kate ne ki la mera ni. Ana way ni morning alego ngara chile munya chilen ki kenoni. Konya kongi kato kulu ni keken. En la dieto wachi ni moni waj er ni moni. Ka ino ni petinge neko. Ana waj yero yan petwet neko la mera. Way ka petwel neko la mera ikin in ki la mera mera ngara chil ki neko. Mata matur mo konya pe way gini ni manaka yang foot pe temi kona. Man ngo mo bino ni weko neko la mera. Eni romo no ana neko keken. Kan madong wow come on pien achaka ne kenye nikidok kulu yono ne no pe totwan
Imiaro chata la bari bo ke le bari chak dogi ulare ke po lare ni gam ne miata dogi gara lingo gane tek fon do ko fulu
Ci wan jumatian walete ki waxa way wi garlu wuru en jumatian gi bebe go ciere ki kunu gana gi foni kere ma ciel gi way mer ngi tikelu do me gwa xukumi pian cha way ngi tikela mona ni ka ngere
kinocho ikwanyo t-shirt mamegi kirugo ka chelo ka kirugo ka chelo nyinu miero ki kwanyo wona nyer eni mier bini kwan t-shirt mamegi kari ngat madong rom ki babani nyo kwar ma migi donc ini tek inde kwanyo t-shirt chana no tichwari ki kwanyo ki kina wa cher wa kwanyo t-shirt yana ana kwanyo pala cho mo madong uti luaro unti kabini wiye chi wachi ni mo ne ana cher beri i arma me
an gi kuno bedong ma bedo kuno an maka ane adu ma nyal tigi latin achel ti bara eno fura tigi maka para bichen
Ano futi maka ka bir ma peke mena la cho. Madong wa Sudan. Mayroong gitara bo Joseph Kony. Ki Sudan na wabere ka chielo ga chiel. Na obiya ka kir pa kony tek pian ki inti gange kir ene. Ker ke ngar mo bal mo. Ano punya pe yom pian ma chiele. Ki maka ke dong gitara bare. Manuel ke tiana dep yan ta chielo ruenyo.
Wabinu watu kitung pade wacher wane odano kunu ngarchan ke wachini kum ngara chele mira unek dano abijo bit chana ne ngar dano ngwen
beri tamma mega agi tamma mega wan ke la megna man beda penyo no watini bi waja nutungo ana meta wan ma chiato gang ya wa in bede tin na no koka en ka wan no pe chiar wan ma bitaw wa ga tan wara di wo wa bidi chen wan mi beta wat ge lumi
bu yeno kwe ti don gudak don wanda ko beru agi kenyu wacher wo beru dak ingere kenyu ti bera chel kono wo wor picha biara chele futo biro wa yenyo ngo madong wa chake o dong porcha ti chalo ka wol fenchan wa cha yore kan kikowa na ka wachiar wo bod gi kunu madong gemo ngi cha reo ni moni dong ngo gin dongu nyang ni mo dar nyo dar marachi itero ni mama ni weng baba ni weng mega ri ti chak pe duwe chel mo po biro kan mano biro gino wego choro chunya matek total anone kony maber gan ira total pe ka beri ken dan kete eni.
When I came back home, my mother died. I remained with 4 younger children. Then I started to stay alone in our home. We had nothing to eat.
The LRA tactic of kidnapping children is really a very difficult one to explain, but of course the well-known fact that it's easier to indoctrinate a child, rob him out of childhood and turn him into a rebel.
Have mercy on us. With the Holy Spirit. Have mercy on us.
One that is merciless and the only thing they know is kill.
Especially those who are Muslims, now in the hour of our death.
We are talking of very horrible atrocities that range from massacres, torture, some kind of mutilation, and so forth, committed against your own communities, and then return themselves back into these very communities they committed crimes against. These young girls have been so unfortunate. I must say they've been really in a situation of double victimization. First of all, they have been abducted as girls at a very tender age, turned into wives, and then later bore children, not of their own will. This puts them in a situation where upon return, you return with your children. And how do you move on from there? First of all, your education has been tampered with, but now you're a mother, and yet still a child. How will a child take care of a child?
It's really very difficult to define hope, but it's something which I would just say I start living it now. To think about hope, walking towards hope, I like to live now positively. My hope starts now. I'm not going to think of yesterday. And that's why I tell the girls, the past is gone, you're not going to recover it. But you can live today, and if you live today, you're living tomorrow.
Chị dong a winyo ni sen Monica kan lu tiano ma kwan ku bale pi yo ma pod moko tuo moko ki gin ma kene ci ki bieno ka ene ni.
The lasting impact of the training we give in this place in St. Monica for these girls is really helping them to get integrated again in the society. And getting integrated, becoming self-reliant, not relying on people to help them. The past is already gone, but they can always live with hope for the future. They can make their life better by taking care of themselves and their children. What do you need for tell me exactly before you sit on the machine? And we invite always girls who dropped up to school and girls who were taken to captivity and were forced to commit different atrocities, and will always remain to help them, promote them, and restore their dignity. Not only with training, but giving them rehabilitation through love and care and acceptance. I don't accept rubbish, okay? If you are sewing rubbish, nobody will buy. Get up, I show you. This must be on top of this. No, you don't see the thread. This should be here, folded like this. No. That's what you should do. But yours, you're opening all completely, and this is too long. You see? You don't go completely here. So that when you open, you have it already folded. You see here? It will be like this. Can you learn that? Yeah. If I get it done, badly done, I will open it up. In fact, yes. For me, I don't take rubbish. What I've realized is that whatever I do, I must think back and say I must do it with love. If they don't understand it now, they will understand that it is love which is compelling me to do whatever I do to them. I don't want beggars. Yes, are you not ashamed to be beggars? No. You are strong. You look at you, stand. You tell you stand. Look at yourself. You are a very beautiful girl, aren't you? We can't. Yes, but you're beautiful. Are you not beautiful? Don't want to go to sit on the roadside and say, give me, can I have a machine? No. You work hard and you get your machine and you keep it. You listen to me. Which you will work for and you will say, that is my machine I work for. Okay. I'm going with it home. It's not the first time I did it. You will never get it free. If you are lazy, the machine will remain with me. If I've seen you once, you will pick it.
Sister Rosemary Nyirumbe's journey to her post at St. Monica's began 50 years ago. She grew up in the far western region of Uganda in a village on the Congolese border. Life was simple, but it was preparation for the complex task to come.
I grew up in a family of 8 people. I am the 7th. I was also spoiled as the last born, the only girl. I liked people to carry me. I liked my father to lift me. I could never do any work. But my mother became so hard with me at the age of 10 and just telling me, Rosemary, you must learn to work. I want to tell you that there's nobody who is buried in this village because he or she died because of work.
She liked looking after children. I sometimes put children on her back also to carry. I didn't put anything on her in my mind, but for me I thought she will be somebody who will know how to look after others because she has a kind heart. She had kind hearts by then.
When she was growing up, I could see that she was somebody who would have some dreams in future. I think that responsibility given to her to start looking after the other children when she was still young was preparing her. It's good, to get prepared. And even that fighting with the boys, I think was good, so that you get prepared. When you meet challenges in future, you are able to handle it. So it was good that she was among the young ones.
For me, I thank God very much for picking her among us to go and work for Him.
I was very close to the church, and I used to pray a lot, and also I used to play a lot of role as a leader of other children, even in school, leading prayers in church and so forth. For me to take the decision to become a sister was something I thought of gradually, and when it came to my mind, it was like I want to give my life to taking care of people. I like really to take care of people. When I heard about the sisters who came from the Sudan, that they were caring for orphans, they were caring for many poor people, I think I like to join those people. I like to be like that. I like to work with them. I told everybody in my family. I think they also thought I was joking because I was very young, and also I was so loved. It was like very, very hard for me to be separated from my family.
At the age of 15, Rosemary began pursuing the career that would span her lifetime. She left her family and all that she knew and went to the Sacred Heart Convent in Moyo, 7 hours away. She would come to this place as a girl, but leave as a woman.
I came here in 1972. They were all dressed in white uniforms. They were candidates right then. They all ran to welcome me. I said, my goodness, this is the first time for me to be in touch with so many sisters in my life.
The convent would be a place of growth for Rosemary in many ways. She grew in her faith and her work ethic, and she would become a leader and a servant. She stood out from her sisters mainly because of her age. She was so young that it caused concern for her mother superior, who called Rosemary into her office.
When it was time to take our first vow, I was underage to take the vow, but I didn't reveal my age. I took the vows with the other people. After 1 month, she called me, she said, Rosemary, do you know you are underage? You should not have taken the vows. I said, but I've already taken it, there's nothing to do. So I said, it's okay, next time you need to tell us your right age. I can't tell you my right age, I don't know it. I keep changing everything. Okay, no problem.
Sister Rosemary would flourish as a nun. Driven by her desire to help others, she entered the field of nursing and studied to be a midwife. She impressed the surgeons at the clinic with her calm under pressure and quick thinking. Her skills were so invaluable that her formal training was often put on hold as she stitched up patients in the operating room.
I would get a very tiny needle and thread it very fast to give him. So he liked me for that, and it gave me a lot of experience. And there's one remark he made one day, he said, Rosemary, all what I'm doing to you is that you will one day help people in times of need. You will be very helpful. And I found the experience I had with that doctor helped me later on when I finished, right during the war.
By the late 1980s, Joseph Kony's attempt to overthrow the Ugandan government was in full swing. Under the cover of darkness, the LRA would lay waste to villages in their path, burning houses and mutilating innocent civilians. With the rural areas in dismay, the LRA began to tighten the noose around the region's largest city. At the same time, Sister Rosemary was completing her high school education at the Sacred Heart School, located on the main road in Gulu. She was caught in the middle of the advance on the city.
This house, the walls are quite high and it's dark, and for us it became a great protection because we would have a lot of gunshots going everywhere, and we felt we were protected between the four walls. We would enter this corridor every day by 5 p.m. and you would never go out again. And imagine now I was sleeping here, just some sisters here, some here, we would actually sit the whole night. There was a time there was a big attack from the rebels. We all ran here by 3 p.m. We were all hiding here. And it was the hardest time. There were so many gunshots. When the gunshots all stopped, we were starving. There was nothing we could eat here. I again took courage. I told the sisters, I'm going out. I want to see what's happening. Maybe we can cook something for ourselves. And they said, no, don't go. I said, I'm going. So I walked right to the kitchen and I saw the door was half open. And I got suspicious. I said, there must be something wrong here. We had closed this door. Why is it open? One of the rebels was hiding there. I said, what do you want? He said, sister, I'm hiding here because my gun could not work anymore. My gun failed to work. The rest have run away, and I would like to run away also, but do you have some food to give us? I went to the house. We didn't have any food. We had only some granules I gave him. He said, do you have some medicine? I had some medicines. I gave him, and I gave him instruction of the medicine, and I told him, do you mind going away? Because if I'm found helping you by Ugandan soldier, they will attack us all. I will also be killed. He said, okay, sister, I'm running away. I don't want to put you in trouble. He crossed the road to go. He remembered he came back. I said, what does he want? He came and said, sister, I have something to tell you. I have put bullets in the oven, and I've put bullets in your remaining foods. I want to remove them. I don't want you to get in trouble. And he removed all the bullets in front of me. I just got so frightened later on to think that if we had set fire in the oven, what would have happened? But because of the act of kindness and also accepting this rebel, he was able to remove all the bullets. And then he said, I'm going away with all of them. You have no trouble. I said, it's okay. For me, when I'm in great difficulties, I tend to sort of surrender, withdraw, and I think I bring out the small goodness in me. Because I always pray that, God, let me see the face of Jesus in anyone who comes to me, even with bad heart. And let that person see the face of Jesus in me. So the oven is still here.
You tell these stories and then you laugh.
Well, what can I do? I'm glad that we are alive because these things were terrible things. Sometimes when I remember, I just don't understand how we remain alive and how we have persevered up to today. Showing weakness is my strength, and oftentimes it disarms the strong. That has always helped me.
One night, a group of rebels attacked a nearby family. In defense, the man of the house shot and killed 2 rebels as they entered the home. The next morning, he went to town to alert the authorities as his wife Catherine walked to church. While on the road, a group of rebels spotted Catherine, knowing that her husband had killed their comrades. Fearing for her life, she ran to the only place she could think of.
She ran right in my bedroom, and she went right under my bed. And these rebels all of a sudden followed immediately and found we locked the door, and they got one girl we locked out. They caught this girl saying, tell the sisters to open the door. So this girl, the voice keeps haunting me up to today. She started, sisters, open the door. Sisters, open the door for me. And she didn't tell me that they were rebels. So hearing her voice, I got haunted. I went and opened the door, and these 2 rebels entered immediately in the house. One had a bullet, and they went right in my bedroom again, following this woman. They got the pistol showing, say, tell us if this woman is here. Is she here? We say, we did not see her. Is she here? So, we didn't see her. We'll kill you if you don't tell us. But she's not here, we don't know. And one of the rebels came and said, leave these stupid people alone. Let us go out. So they went out, and this woman remained behind me under my bed. And I came after, I bent. I found this woman crying, and I told her, I said, Catherine, don't cry, keep praying. God will take care. She said, I know these rebels will come, they will look for me at night. I said, no, I'll do something else. I said, sisters, what can I do to get this woman out? If they see me walking with this woman out, I will be followed. Anybody will tell the rebels that I'm taking this woman out.
That night, the sisters began to plot Catherine's escape. The solution was right in front of their eyes. The next morning, Sister Rosemary woke Catherine up, revealing their escape plan, with an extra habit in her hands. The sisters climbed in the back of the truck, telling Catherine to stay strong. Her tears could give her away. She began to pray with the sisters who were hiding her. The rebels stopped them at a roadblock, looked into the truck, and passed them through to the nearby hospital.
I guess there are few people who really know me. There are few people who really know me as my true self, as one who went through all these difficulties, and yet it's myself. I think a lot of people know me now, but they don't know exactly what I went through. A lot of people don't know. It has defined me, and I think it has helped me to accept a lot of people. And I still see a lot of people who, in one way or another, I supported or helped. I didn't know it would turn out to be something they would remember. A few remember how I helped them.
Sister Rosemary and her fellow sisters were able to escape Gulu as the violence in the region escalated out of control. But her superiors saw her natural leadership skills under pressure. After completing her degree as a midwife and nurse, Sister Rosemary received her new assignment. And it would be this post that would force her to use all of her creativity to tackle the obstacles that lay in front of her.
I went to college to finish my studies. Again, when I finished my university, I was very surprised. My superiors told me that, Sister Rosemary, we're asking you to go to Gulu, but we're sorry that we're asking you to go in a place where you had a lot of problems. The war was still going on, and at this time it was now more complex. There was an Ebola outbreak, night commuters, a lot of people being abducted. Then I looked at myself, I said, I thought I had run away from that trauma. I thought I had run away from that war, but now I'm being asked again to go back there. And I told my superiors, don't apologize for asking me to go there. If you want me to go there, I will go. And I will make life there. Even if you were to send me on water, I will make life there.
St. Monica was kind of ruined. It was very ruined, almost to nothing. So when Sister Rosemary was sent to come and be the one in charge, I was also very, very scared because there was a lot of problems. There was insurgency. They were not safe at all. So by then we were all praying.
The rebels would go at night and just abduct children in front of their parents, and the parents were helpless. I remember one woman one day walked with their daughter during the day and found me in the house. And she told me, hey sister, I brought this girl, I want her to remain here. Also, the sister is with me. I would like both of them if you can take them. I said, you are present, you are not dead, why don't you care for your children? And when I said this, I saw the girl looked up and she started sobbing. She had a lot of tears coming in her eyes. And I turned to her and said, why are you crying? Is there any problem? And the mother said, sister, the reason why I brought her, there was an attempt last night to abduct these children in front of me, and her sister was abducted and she was raped right in front of me. And then I withdrew. I said, it's okay, you can leave her and you can go home. It was very painful for this mother. It was very painful for me and very painful for the girl. By that time, there were even adults coming to hide here. We had them all, every night with us. This place was so devastated. Almost all these doors were locked. The classroom which I used were only 2. You can see how big this place is. This is a place which can take 300 people. And by the time I arrived, there were only 30 girls in this place. It was so scary to be here. And I looked, I said, I don't know why I'm sent here and I don't know what I can do here. But at the same time, I said, maybe God wanted me to be here. I was scared deep down with me, but at the same time, I had to take courage, like to lead the others. In the group of the 30 girls, I noticed there was one girl who could never look anybody in the eyes. She was always frightened. She was called Janet. I called her one day. I said, Janet, can you come? I talk with you. I want to speak with you. Why don't you look at people? She looked down. Can you look at me? She looked away. I said, Janet, am I so ugly that you cannot look at me? She laughed. And she said, no, you are not ugly. I said, then look at me. I was just cracking her, and she started talking with me freely. I said, sister, you know, I find it very difficult to study with the others, and I can't see well. I said, why can't you see well? Because I see you don't have any trouble. She said, sister, I was with the rebels for 9 years, and I was a commanding officer, and I was always taken to the front line, and all these things disturbed me. That was the first time for me to know there were girls who were in captivity and who were trained as rebels. I didn't know any was in this school. So I asked her, I said, Janet, what do you think if I introduce practical tailoring where you don't go into theory? Because I realized she was abducted when she was very young and she lost all chances of education. She said, I will try. I introduced practical dressmaking, basic cookery, and so forth. And she went to that class. And later on, I realized 10 of the girls out of the 30 joined that class. I decided to make a radio announcement. I say, let us make an announcement to call the girls who came from captivity and who have children, that we would give them the type of skills we are giving to these girls. And that year alone, that was 2002, we got about 200 girls who came. I had them all under the tree with their babies, all waiting to be registered to join the training here. And I realized among them, almost 3/4 of them were girls who were coming from the rebel activity. And I told my sisters, I say, I think what we can do here is love and accept these girls and really work with them. Let us accept them as they are. And please, let us not remind them of their past. Let nobody tell these girls that we know what they went through. And so we were leaving them like we didn't know they were girls who were trained as soldiers or as rebels. But little by little, we started drawing some of them, talking to us, and I would sit with them. Sometimes they would see me sitting alone. They would come and talk to me to tell me what they went through. Strange stories, how they were forced to kill, how they were taken, given to rebel commanders. I started hearing so many of these stories. I was absorbing them a lot, and it was heavy for me.
Ikan madu war wo orong ka kulu ka mok to konya kong ke ka to kulu ni ke ken. Ban ngo mo biru ni we ko. Ane ko na me. Ni romo no ana ne ka ke ken. Sen Monica ini kicoy war kai Paris. Pan kitung bara tawne anyi magere cham kene twer bale dak cham kene twer ber mo pe pingani moni genu wa ran sinu ber mo be ni ikamati gang ano wasini funna tia ilum kuja gen mati mo be pe mati mo be yedom beru kana mi beru ki down en ni bere ano ter kwan kan twer ko nya pingani genu wa ran bion ka kwan kan na mer bion ka kwan telan kai tie ki charani ni bi cher kem dan wi ber ka bokolo gimone maneno no time charo time la wuogi nyo kar mo ni pikar na ana lega achako kilega memo e bal ma mega matin pikar mo an patrer wa ko bala chamu kene umirat ating yo achet bon ngata ye ulek yan matek.
Yes, you'll be okay, and God has forgiven you. You have to know God loves you more than what you think. God has forgotten. He never remembers our past. Why would Jesus die? He died and took all our sins, and we are free. He has washed all our sins. We are all free. He took the burden on himself. Who knew it? Yeah.
That dog really. This one, the new type, is the maybe the.
A lot of them keep throwing blames back on themselves. I know to forgive is a long journey. And I would never tell a girl who has gone through a lot of experience of pain that forgive. It must be practical. You got to show something is moving. You got to see somebody's moving towards forgiveness. Really, when they start forgiving themselves, you see a big difference in them. You see them even becoming physically beautiful. There's no tension, they're relaxed, and they're able to talk with one another. In the first place, when I really want to help these girls rebuild their lives, I show them no sympathy. That means I really don't have to remain and tell them that you have gone through this experience and it is all over. I always want them to forget the past by saying that the past will never be recovered, but there is a future. We can still walk in hope.
Many of the students at St. Monica's carry burdens far greater than most single mothers. Their children remain a daily reminder of their time in captivity and are marked by the community as children of rebels.
Mapuro duga kwa beri yamba piano. Konga kan ka dano ini la tena kon be no iwunyo le madano waje no chwin down to chwe ke je marre mu bere ka time. Kala tendo piano ngali teno food wigi teno abia ka re lu ma ni babane chu ma ni bino go ni yen babani wa relum babani la ne ko ma ta ai dong be ne no bere ka po no wi abia to twale kom jim mu kan chi ma won gang eno lo ko chi ko dano an kratam khete ne na ano we no miaro wi abo wi le we kom Joseph Kony pitian la ga chele ano pa ma kol ma ti wok e kong mu ko ma ka mi tere lum ber pa ma chel dong ma dugu gang en lo ke chi mu tok en kra chana kerem ki gwa khali te am be pepe bana le kan Joseph Kony ram ma ne wi ara wil mod ke mod ra en pe yo.
The Chole culture is one where when a child is born, the child belongs to the father. So when you come back with your child into the community, that child actually doesn't belong to that clan. So that's a very heavy stigma attached to that kind of relationship that the girls are experiencing.
A lot of them really coming back from captivity had to struggle to take care of these children as single parents, and also not finding a place where you can stay and not being accepted by the people, because as you come you're called straight away, this one is a rebel, that girl is a rebel, that one is a murderer. Many of them were not accepted, and so they were so resentful, and a lot of them were turning their anger to their children. We had to start loving the children. We had to ourselves adopt these children and begin to show these girls how they themselves can love these children. By giving them almost everything, we became mothers to them. And in this way, we try to help them to love their children. Girls have come from here when they hated, then they didn't like their children, when they attempted to kill their children. And now I have these children who are growing in front of these girls, and they're loving the children at the same time. Sister, it is very difficult because people call my children rebel children. The girls were so scared that people would take revenge on their children if they left the children behind. And that is one of the things which really made me to establish a situation where these girls must come to study with their children. You be here with their children so they know they are safe. People will not take revenge on them.
Who is a child? A child is a person below 18. What do they need? Love, care, and comfort. They are young and innocent. Need them protection. They need protection.
When we started the daycare, there were a lot of people even out there who are saying, "Sister, you have very good facilities. We would like to bring our children also to study there, but we are afraid because you have children of the rebels." And I said, "No problem, make a choice. We don't have children of the rebels. The children are children, and we want to address integration and peace, starting with children. If you want your children, you come, you bring them." Some people started bringing their children, and up to now, you would never know which child was born in captivity, which child was a child of the rebel leader or any rebel, no difference. So in this way, we trained and we cared and loved many of these girls, and giving them that chance that at least they can restore their lost childhood, they can find a home here, they can find African women who can live with them, sisters who can live with them day and night. Was a big, big care and love these girls received. And I made that as a model for running this school. And I said, we will always keep what I learned from the first group of girls I saw here, and we will extend this care and love. And we invite always girls who dropped out of school and girls who were taken to captivity and were forced to commit different atrocities, and will always remain to help them, promote them, and restore their dignity.
Sister Rosemary began to look for opportunities to expand St. Monica's. She knew that Gulu was hit hard during the war, but the further north she traveled, the more devastation she found in Joseph Kony's wake. She established a small school in Atiak, 90 kilometers north of Gulu, and is building another school in South Sudan. Her mission is to provide training and resources to girls who desperately need it. This mission requires valuable resources to be accomplished. To bring down construction expenses, Sister Rosemary hires her students to build their own bricks using discarded water bottles. She dreams of a petrol station and restaurant located on the school grounds in Atiak, which is halfway between Gulu and Juba, South Sudan. It will be the only location between these cities for trucks to refuel and for passengers to eat a hot meal. This has the potential to bring valuable revenue to the fledgling school. All of this is a part of a bigger dream. A dream to bring healing to her land, believing that even the broken can build for themselves a better future. Keeping the doors open at St. Monica's is a never-ending battle. Many times, Sister Rosemary must fight to provide even enough water for the over 300 people who call St. Monica's their home.
This is interesting because this letter, it was a kind of contract or plans. We are supposed to provide appropriate quality and affordable education to vulnerable and disadvantaged girls and women in Northern Uganda. As financial support is concerned, the headmistress, who was a sister before me here, who was just for a short time, said that this center was running at a heavy loss. The sister believed that this can be remedied. A production section is now introduced in the tailoring section with the aim of generating income through sewing uniforms for different schools in and outside Gulu, Southern Sudan, and at the same time, it is also aimed to instill self-confidence in some of our students who can be absorbed and employed as they gain more skills with constant practice. This is a whole industry. Look at this. So we value the girls because they make the things for their own children. And the girls, the women who are here, all paid for what they produce. So if you want me to pay you for 10 dresses in a day, you make 10.
Sister Rosemary realized there was a market around her. A market for uniforms for schools, cloth diapers for hospitals, and cakes for university graduations. All of the proceeds could fund the school fees for these girls. Sister Rosemary still wasn't satisfied.
Practical dressmaking and other subjects we were giving is okay, but then we would need to get something which could be more marketable, which would be something people would like even internationally. I was invited to International Women's Leadership Conference in Hawaii and be one of the speakers, and we were 5 women sitting all on one table, and we are sharing about the different things we do in different places. And I had a woman very near me from Philippines, and she just offered me a bracelet, one of the bracelets the women made. It was so fascinating, it was beautiful. And so she offered me for free consultation, a bracelet and a purse. When we finished this conference, I was invited by Pros for Africa, Reggie and Rachel, to Oklahoma. And I was living in the house of Rachel. I was showing her exactly what I got from Hawaii.
We looked closer at it and we decided, this is something that we could really do. She could teach the girls and they could earn their own living, restore their dignity, and become independent.
Each pop tab is brought from the United States by a non-profit organization called Pros for Africa. Sister Rosemary then distributes the pop tabs to the girls, giving them orders for a number of purses. After the girls complete their purses, she pays them for their work. Each bag will sell in the United States for between $100 and $275. The payments are enough to pay for a semester's worth of school fees.
Now, who among you has not received money? But the big one, I'll pay you when you finish, okay?
Sister, thank you very much.
Okay. And your
Women are being able to step up, the smiles they have, the dignity. They've left, bad situations because being able to earn their own way, pay for their own bills. Nobody wants a handout.
From receiving our payment for the pop tabs making, yeah. And we are happy also because we get the money. We not did a great thing, but they pay us a lot of money. Then we are happy for it. So great.
No chance and you me around Kwan. I know the send Monica out them gun mama bag corner. I go thing we are people will pay.
Men na ni ati school kan gima da mara era da tika meteni pia winyo ki wai learning center si dong learning center mi learning jema pol si dana ange chwe pop ta mo man be pon na put gine anena jema pol da tika kwa atika komatika kwa no tailoring ento olu tere jema ko dong bana nge
sen men California ma chela nge teaching ki ma chel olu ta beru ki ker mi chako te kwa na gera
gana tie nye ni matwer la ko tingone ni ki kwanya ki pera ki kela kama olo ala ka ter beriya tingone ni Monica en tie roma no moti mamana
Amaro. Te kala be kwana
be pian kira yen tiu ke dano be wera be iber ki ker mo olu twala mi tiu du kita yan tiga tin mater yen do mere in mete do bet chalo en
people whom the community has put aside consider that like this one cannot do anything. Those kind of the people, Sister Rosemary loves them so much.
My dreams are growing and growing, and then the visions are getting clearer and clearer simply because of the great support I have behind me. The vision, the dreams could keep growing and growing, and I will not stop dreaming.
It is my honor to present the CNN Hero for Community Crusader, Sister Rosemary Nyirumbe.
For decades, she openly defied the brutal violence of Joseph Kony and his guerrilla army. And where Kony has decimated Uganda, Sister Rosemary has rebuilt it. Please join me in welcoming with honor Sister Rosemary Nyirumbe.
Sister Rosemary is just amazing. It's just all about giving back. She impacted a lot.
Sister Rosemary opened the doors to those young ladies, and now those ladies have a newfound respect for themselves. They have an inner strength, and you see that excitement in them.
When I think of Sister Rosemary, she's definitely inspired me in a way that I want to do the same thing that she's doing. I want to be a part of what she has done.
She helped mentor these young women, guide them. She's definitely making a difference.
When you can actually see something you're doing, the finished product, and you can see it at work, it puts a smile on your face, and it's a different type of feeling, man.
You feel like she's really fighting, to help those kids. It's something like she said, she can do it by himself.
Probably one of the amazing women I had heard a story, like that, and just a great heart and wanting to help people.
We're put on this earth really to help people, and I think with the platform we have as NBA players, we can do a little bit more. She's such a great lady with such a big heart, somebody we all can learn from.
More than 2,000 girls who were kidnapped and orphaned by the LRA have found refuge at St. Monica's tailoring school in Uganda. Guided by Sister Rosemary, they make beautiful clothes, they grow nutritious foods, they learn valuable trades, they reclaim a bright future, and they find